Picture this. It's the late Pleistocene, somewhere between 20,000 and 40,000 years ago. The world is locked in an ice age. Massive glaciers cover much of the northern hemisphere, and humans are struggling to survive as hunter-gatherers. And in this frozen world, two apex predators are competing for the same resources: humans and wolves. Now, wolves back then weren't the animals we think of today. These were massive, powerful, hunter's gray wolves that could take down megafauna like woolly mammoths and giant elk. They hunted in packs, just like humans did. They were intelligent, social, and territorial. In many ways, we were more similar than different. But here's where it gets interesting. At some point, these two competitors started to cooperate. Okay, so here's the million-dollar question. What was the first recorded case of wolf taming? The honest answer? We don't have a specific first case recorded in any historical document because this happened way before humans invented writing. But archaeology gives us some incredible clues. The earliest evidence we have of domesticated dogs comes from several sites. In Germany, there's a jawbone that's about 14,000 years old that shows characteristics of domestication. In Russia, we've found dog remains at a site called Ilisevici that date back about 17,000 years. But the really wild stuff? Some genetic studies suggest the split between wolves and dogs could have happened anywhere from 20,000 to 40,000 years ago, maybe even earlier. One of the most touching pieces of evidence comes from a site in Israel called Ein Molaha, dated to about 12,000 years ago. Archaeologists found a human burial where a person was buried with their hand resting on a puppy. This wasn't food, this was a companion, this was love. But here's what probably happened. Based on what scientists have pieced together, the process likely started with what we call self-domestication. Basically, some wolves were less afraid of humans than others. These bolder wolves would hang around human campsites, scavenging scraps and leftovers. Humans probably didn't mind at first because these wolves would eat the garbage and warn them of approaching dangers with their barking. Over generations, the friendliest wolves had better access to food. They survived better, had more puppies, and those puppies inherited their parents' friendly traits. Humans might have started taking in wolf puppies, raising them, and breeding the tamest ones. Generation by generation, these wolves became less wolf-like and more dog-like. It wasn't some magical moment where a caveman befriended a wolf. It was a slow, gradual process spanning thousands of years and probably happened independently in multiple locations across Europe and Asia. Now, let's talk about why this partnership was such a game changer. Because trust me, taming wolves didn't just give humans a cute pet, it fundamentally transformed human society. Benefit number 1, better hunting. First and foremost, wolves made humans better hunters. Dogs have incredible senses. They can smell prey from miles away and hear sounds we can't even detect. When humans and dogs hunted together, success rates skyrocketed. Dogs could track wounded animals, chase down fast prey, and retrieve birds that fell into water or thick brush. Suddenly, humans had access to way more protein and resources. Benefit number 2, security and protection. Dogs are natural guard animals. They're territorial, they're loyal to their pack, which now included humans, and they have incredible hearing. A sleeping human is vulnerable, but a dog sleeping near that human will wake at the slightest unusual sound. Dogs gave early humans a security system that worked 24/7. This meant better sleep, earlier warning of predators or hostile groups, and ultimately, better survival rates. Benefit number 3, warmth. This one might sound weird, but it was crucial during the Ice Age. Dogs are warm, really warm. Their body temperature is higher than ours. On freezing nights, having dogs sleep near you or in your shelter could literally be the difference between life and death. There's actually an expression some cultures used, a 3-dog night, meaning it was so cold you needed 3 dogs to stay warm. Benefit number 4, help with herding. As humans transitioned from pure hunting-gathering to agriculture and animal herding around 10,000 years ago, dogs became absolutely essential. They could control and move livestock like sheep, goats, and cattle. One human with a good herding dog could manage flocks that would otherwise require multiple people. This made farming more efficient and helped human settlements grow. Benefit number 5, companionship and emotional support. Let's not forget the emotional side. Humans are social creatures, and dogs filled a psychological need. They provided companionship, unconditional affection, and emotional support. Studies today show that interacting with dogs releases oxytocin, the love hormone, in both humans and dogs. This bond probably existed from the very beginning and helped cement the relationship. In short, dogs made humans more efficient hunters, safer sleepers, better farmers, and probably happier people. Some anthropologists argue that the domestication of dogs was so beneficial that it may have given humans an edge over Neanderthals and other hominids. That's how significant this was. But let's keep it real. Nothing in life is free, and taming wolves came with its own set of challenges and disadvantages. Disadvantage number 1. Resource competition. Dogs eat a lot. A single dog might need 1 to 2 pounds of meat per day, maybe more depending on size and activity level. For early humans living on the edge of survival, this was a significant cost. Feeding dogs meant less food for humans, and during harsh winters or periods of scarcity, keeping dogs alive could be a real burden. Some groups probably had to make hard decisions about whether to keep feeding their dogs or let them go. Disadvantage number 2. Disease transmission. Living in close proximity to animals is a recipe for disease transmission, and dogs were no exception. Dogs can carry rabies, various parasites, bacterial infections, and other diseases that can jump to humans. Before modern veterinary medicine, a rabid dog could devastate a small human community. The very closeness that made dogs useful also made them potential health hazards. Disadvantage number 3. Aggression and danger. Not every wolf that hung around humans was friendly, and not every dog was perfectly domesticated. Early domestic dogs were much closer to their wolf ancestors than modern dogs. They could be aggressive, unpredictable, and dangerous, especially around children or food. Dog bites and attacks were probably a common occurrence, and some dogs might have even killed people, particularly in the early stages of domestication. Disadvantage number 4. Noise and unwanted attention. Dogs bark a lot. While this could be useful for alerting humans to danger, it also meant that stealth was nearly impossible. If you're trying to sneak up on prey or avoid hostile groups, having a barking dog is a liability. The noise could also attract predators or enemies to your location. Disadvantage number 5. Emotional attachment and loss. Finally, there's the emotional cost. Once humans bonded with dogs, losing them became painful. Dogs have much shorter lifespans than humans, maybe 10 to 15 years for early domestic dogs. Watching a beloved companion age and die over and over again takes an emotional toll. This might seem minor compared to the practical concerns, but grief is real, and it's been part of the human-dog relationship from the beginning. So how did we get from fierce Ice Age wolves to like Pomeranians and pugs? The answer is artificial selection. Basically, humans became the driving force of dog evolution. We bred dogs for specific traits: smaller size, floppy ears, curly tails, different coat colors, and most importantly, tameness and obedience. Over thousands of years, dogs became physically and behaviorally distinct from wolves. Their brains got smaller, their snouts shortened, and they retained juvenile features into adulthood, a process called neoteny. Basically, adult dogs behave like wolf puppies: playful, submissive, and eager to please. By about 5,000 years ago, we start seeing evidence of different dog breeds. Ancient Egyptians had greyhound-like dogs for hunting and mastiff-like dogs for guarding. Romans bred dogs for war, herding, and companionship. Fast forward to Victorian England, and you have the explosion of breed creation we recognize today. Modern dogs are so different from wolves that they're classified as a separate subspecies, Canis lupus familiaris. Yet their DNA is nearly identical to gray wolves. The difference is almost entirely in behavior and appearance, shaped by thousands of generations of living with humans.